winning gymnastics meets. 1986 has been a good year for this Soviet superstar. He won the American Cup. And these are just 2 of the 20 teams on hand for the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs. Inside the Hampton Coliseum, it's a flurry of international activity as our competition is about to begin. Hello, everyone. I'm Leandra Riley, and this is a unique meet that we have in store for you. We have 20 pairs representing 19 different countries. All 20 pairs will compete in the first round. The men's and women's scores are combined, so both athletes must do a good job to advance to the second round. Only the top 6 pairs will advance to that second round, and from there, only the top 3 will compete in the third and final round. So as you can see, we only have 3 apparatus involved in each event. Therefore, our gymnasts for the women's side will be competing in 3 out of 4. On the men's side, it'll be 3 out of 6. Right now, let me bring in our expert color commentator. He has 2 Olympic gold medals, 1 Olympic silver medal, Peter Vidmar. Peter, you competed in mixed pairs competition. It's hard to say, but it's really fun and competition combined.
It's a lot of fun. It's kind of a new format, but it's catching on throughout the world. They're having mixed pairs competitions all over the world. I enjoy competing in them, and even though you feel the pressure, you have fun when you get to compete with a girl.
All right, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of it. We have the Soviet Union against the USA. You and I have kind of predicted they're going to be 1 and 2. On the USA side, I guess it's really going to be a prove-it time for the USA, Ginsburg and Phillips.
Christy's coming off the best meet of her life. She's the new star of USA Gymnastics after winning the American Cup. And Brian was the runner-up, but he made a little mistake on that last event. He could have won it also. Brian won't be doing that week event, though. He's going to do his best events today, so they're going to be probably the team to beat.
On the Soviet Union side, Tikhonki certainly is a seasoned veteran performer. Will he be carrying the load for Baraksanova?
Certainly not. Tikhonki is probably one of the best male gymnasts in the world. He's the American Cup champion. But Baraksanova is also one of the best female gymnasts in the world. She didn't have the performance that she wanted to have at the American Cup, and she's going to try to do it here.
Since it is an unusual format, we have pinned ourselves down to just the USA and USSR. Do you have another country who you think might sneak in there?
I think the other Americans are going to be tough, but you never know. They're all going to be great meets. It's going to go down to the last competitor.
All right, we'll find out in just a few moments who is going to be the best internationally mixed pairs. Right now, we're going to take a timeout, but when we come back, the Coliseum, where our competition is about to begin. I'm Leandra Riley, along with Peter Vidmar, and to refresh your memories, the men and women's scores are combined. It is the combined total that will advance to the next round. This is a representative from France. Her name is Christelle Robert, and she's vaulting.
Crystal's going to do a handspring front flip. It's not a very difficult vault now compared to some of the other ones that the girls are performing. But she did it quite well. She had a very good landing.
Women's vaulting competition has 2 vaults, as we take another look at her first vault.
Let's see. Now you'll see her legs come apart on the post flight as she tucks her knees in. And it's not quite as attractive, and yet it's really not a deduction in women's gymnastics.
Of course, the judges don't have this overhead view that we have,
That's
so
right.
the legs being apart don't look as bad.
That's right. And here's another view.
Does it really help in the rotation when they cowpoke it, as they call it?
Well, it does. It helps to really bring in that center of gravity, and you can twist much faster. Now she's going to do one more vault.
And it'll be the better of the 2 vaults that will count as her score. So her second vault, if it's the higher one, that'll be the score that is used. And of course, that will be added to her teammate's score, and the combined total of those 2 will determine who advances. Christelle Robert is coached by Maurice Pierre Saint-Genis. I love the French names.
And that one was done a little bit better, a little bit higher, but the landing wasn't quite as good, so it probably will be around the same score.
Marie-Pierre Saint-Genis giving her gymnast some advice.
He's 25 years old and studies business and languages.
You'll see her legs a little bit more straddled. It looked like it was a little bit higher, but the landing wasn't quite as good. She took a much bigger hop this time.
And now her teammate and countryman, Laurent Barbieri. He is 25 years old, 5'7", 140 pounds. He will be competing on floor exercise. Crystal chose to vault. Laurent chose floor exercise.
It's a very strong mount. It was a full twisting double back flip. I've seen him do that with one more twist. I've seen him do a double twisting double back. He's very powerful in floor exercise. There's a double pike. A minor hop on the landing. Barbieri is very strong in floor exercise. It's one of his best events. There's a planche. Nice strength move right up to a handstand. full punch front. That's one of the new things we're seeing a lot in men's full exercise. Backflip immediately into a front flip. Barbieri had a great meet at the American Cup. I was talking to him earlier. He said it was one of the best meets he's had in his life. So he's really pleased with the way his gymnastics is going right now.
He's very popular in America, too. The crowd's always behind him.
Yes, very much. Now he's going to set up for his dismount. Probably a double back flip. That took it's a big step forward. He'll probably lose a tenth or two from that, but it was a very strong routine.
Laurent Barbieri on floor exercise.
Going back to his mount, he's a very quick and explosive tumbler. And he has very, very good form. You see it's a full twisting backflip in the first flip and just a backflip in the second. Now I see an overhead view of his dismount. It's a double backflip. You'll see that he doesn't quite finish his rotation enough.
What does that mean? That he needed more power, or he didn't tuck tight enough?
Either he needed to pull his legs in a little bit more, not open as soon, or he just needed more power. It's one or the other, but either way, it would give him a much better landing.
A little bit under-rotated for Laurent Barbieri. While we're waiting for his score, I'll tell you about Crystal Robert. She vaulted twice. Her first vault received a 9.3. Her second received a 9.2. So only the first score will count, 9.3. That will be added to Laurent Barbieri's score. Combined total, well, if it's good enough, it'll put him into the second round. Remember, there are 20 teams competing. Only 6 will advance to the second round. Laurent Barbieri is studying business and languages. He's one of the few international gymnasts who can speak English here. Was very charming in interviews. The combined total for this tandem has now been handed to me, 18.6, and according to my math, that means both gymnasts receive a 9.3 for their effort. So with an 18.6, we are going to take a commercial timeout. When we return, we will have our next pairs. Please stay with us. Mixed pairs competition. We have moved now to the uneven parallel bars. We are still in our first round, and this is Boriana Stoyanova of Bulgaria. She's 17 years old. She lives in Sofia, Bulgaria. And she wants very badly to compete in the 88 Olympic Games.
Stoyanova has been one of the strongest gymnasts in the international scene for a few years now, and she's really well respected in the sport.
She finished second in the American Cup competition, and she chose her events, her apparatus, the uneven, the parallel bars to be first, then balance beam, and then floor exercise. She decided to let go of vaulting, and she said she chose her order based on the Olympic order of competition. So she really didn't have much of a strategy as to which one she wanted to go first. Do you believe, Peter, having competed in the mixed pairs, that you should put your best and highest scoring event first to guarantee you passage into the second round?
Yeah, that's usually the smartest thing to do, is to do the event that you're most secure with and that you feel you can get the highest score. That helps to push you forward. But maybe Stoyanova just felt that every event's good for her, and it really doesn't matter which event she does, and that's the kind of attitude that you can have sometimes if you really feel prepared.
That's confidence.
She was people don't realize that she really gave Christy Phillips a run for her money in the American Cup.
She may give her a run for her money here.
There were many times during the competition that she was actually leading. And she was looking high bar. Most of the tricks now the girls are doing is on the high bar. There's a free hip circle to a handstand, giant, full pirouette. Set up for a dismount.
Sounded like she hit the sidewire.
It sure did. Toe on, front with a half dismount. Perfect landing. We'll see this dismount again. There's a free hip to a handstand. Toe on, front with a half twist, and watch this landing. Just perfect. No movement at all.
Pretty routine, but Boriana Stoyanova, her coach, Margaret Krastev, is very happy. Now we are moving over to the rings where her teammate, Dijon Kolev, is about to compete. He lives in Varna. He is 20 years of age, and he elected to go with the rings, the vaulting, and the high bar should he last that long. This team can advance to the second round.
Rings is a very popular event for a lot of these, for the male gymnasts to go on, because it's a very secure event. Once you put your hands on the rings, you don't have to let go until you do a dismount. And it's a fun event to compete on. I'm sure it's also a very good event for Dijon. Now, He's a young gymnast, and I haven't seen much of him, but I'm sure we'll see a lot of him in the future. So back up rise right to a handstand. Giant to a handstand. There's an inverted cross.
The hardest part about the rings, to me, it would seem, is the fact that the apparatus moves.
Yes, and you have to keep them as still as possible. When you're doing a multiple flipping twist like you just did, it can be very difficult. Look how strong he is, though. That was an Olympic cross into an iron cross. Kiff, now he's going to get ready for his dismount. It's a hollow back press to a handstand. And double layout dismount. Nicely done.
Dijon Kolev competing on the ring. In case you're just joining us, the reason we are ping-ponging through the event, it's because the apparatus is chosen by the gymnast, and he elected to compete first on the still rings.
Now Harry is getting ready for his dismount. He presses up to a handstand, and he will bail from the handstand and go right into his dismount. A lot of gymnasts like to do a giant dislocate first, but he just goes for it. Double layout, and he lands it perfectly.
His teammate, Boriana Stoyanova, received a 9.55 for her routine on the uneven parallel bars as they congratulate each other. He would like to score at least that, if not better, for his ring routine. 20 pairs are competing in this first round. 6 will survive for the second round. All told, each gymnast will compete only on 3 apparatus. So that's why you choose your strongest 3, and as you suggested, your best one first. So we are waiting for Dijon Kolev's score. We recall that Christelle Robert and Laurent Barbieri received an 18.6 combined total. Their combined total, as you can see, is now 19.0. And we will be back with more international competition, more men, more women. But first, back, and you are looking at Zheng Yingzhu. She is vaulting for China. Her teammate, Wang Chongsheng, is standing by at the pommel horse. As we said earlier, in women's vaulting, they are allowed to execute 2 vaults. The better of the 2 scores is the one that counts.
Zheng Yingzhu is a very powerful gymnast. You can see the leg strength. She's got very muscular legs. And in the past, the Chinese women have been powerful on the balance beam and on the uneven bars, but their weaker events have been floor exercise and vault. And now the new wave of the Chinese women is to be very strong on those events also. So we should see some good vaults from her.
Zheng Yingzhu is in her 2nd year on the Chinese national team. She's 16 years of age, and she studies at the Hunan Sports School. She is coached by Yu Jingxian.
And smile because the audience has a tendency to be on television. Score for Marcus Lakeland, Switzerland was 9.4. For Nicole Stroila was 8.
We have seen gymnasts from France, gymnasts from Bulgaria. Now we are seeing gymnasts from China. Other countries that are represented include Japan, Italy, Switzerland, Venezuela, Australia, Mexico, Germany, and of course the Soviet Union. And we have an international panel of judges, so if it seems a little bit slow, it's because there's a communications problem too.
There's a laid out Tsukahara with a full twist. Very powerful. She took a big step. That'll be a deduction, but she gets one more chance. Let's see if she can do it perfectly. She had a very good set. She waited a while before she twisted. Really got that height and rotation first.
This young lady is 4'7".
Do you wish the men could do 2 so they can correct some of their errors?
Yeah, I wish that it'd be nice if the men could do 2. They would add more variety to the event also. Now you'll see she gets a lot of lift, and when she twists, you'll see her pike her body, and she starts to twist, and she pikes her body in a little bit too soon, so she has to take that step back.
What kind of corrections, if you were her coach, would you tell her before she does her second vault?
I thought the vault was done quite well. I think if she just opens up a little bit sooner, doesn't pike in as much, she should be able to land it fine.
9.6, not a bad score for a first vault.
No, that's a good score, and it's a very difficult vault. It's the same vault that Mary Lou Retton used when she won the Olympic Games. And that was done much better. Tiny little hop. I think she'll be pleased with that.
You'll recall that Christelle Robert received a 9.3 for her vault. So Zheng Yingzhu has already had better luck with her first vault, receiving a 9.6.
This is much better. Her form is very good. She gets a lot of lift. A nice crisp twist. And just a tiny little hop. Very, very good.
Wang Chongsheng is her teammate. He's competing on pommel horse. Peter Vidmar, Olympic gold medalist on pommel horse, and that to me is one of the 7 wonders of the world. Why would you put pommel horse first?
Well, pommel horse, it's considered one of the most difficult events, but if you know how to do it well, then you might as well do it first, and that's how Wang Chongsheng is. And Tim Daggett's very strong in this event too. He won the bronze medal in the Olympics. So they're both doing this event first, and he's performing really well. Very extended circles, traveling up and backwards across the horse. Beautiful flare to handstand, pirouette dismount. That should score very well.
Dong Ying-Zhu, his teammate, received a 9.7 for her second vault. As you mentioned, it's a little bit better than the first, and that's a great start as you take another look.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're going to be right up there. And here's a flare right up to a handstand, puts his hand in the middle, and does a little pirouette turn off for the dismount. Very nice. This will be a nice shot from overhead. You see him going into the flare again. He goes right up to a handstand.
Shows the flexibility.
Oh, yes, it's incredible flexibility. He's a tall gymnast, too. Pirouetting out to his dismount. He should score very well.
He's 19 years of age. He studies at the Beijing Institute for Physical Education. He began gymnastics at the age of 13. Wang Chongsheng.
It's amazing how these Chinese gymnasts just come, new faces all the time, and they're all great gymnasts. They have so many gymnasts to choose from.
It seems to me the Oriental body type lends itself very well to gymnastics. And he received, as we are being told right now, a 9.7, so their combined total is 19.4. 19.4 for the team from China, and we will be back with competitors from the USA as well as other countries. But first, we're going to take a time competition. This is Tracy Calore. She is getting ready to vault. She and Tim Daggett are the team for the USA that's getting ready to compete. The team from China that you just saw before the commercial, they are in first place with their total of 19.4, and that puts the pressure on Tracy Calore. She's 4'10". She's in 9th grade, 16 years of age. She started gymnastics at age 7, Tracy Calore.
Tracy's a very powerful vaulter.
And a very popular one.
And that was a Sukahara with a full twist. She didn't quite have that explosive power that she needed, and she just put her hands down. That's going to be a deduction, and she's going to get one more chance. Let's take a look at this a little bit closer and find out why she didn't quite get the rotation she needed. She had some good twists. She may have spun just a little bit too soon and didn't quite initiate that lift and that rotation before the twist. And she had to pike down, and she put her hands down.
What about the legs apart? Of course, we have the luxury of the overhead angle. Did that slow her down at all?
Sure, it could have. Usually, you tend to twist a little bit more crisply if you have your legs together. And we'll just see how she does in this next vault.
We're now ready for the second vault for Tracy Calore.
She received a 9.05 for that first vault. She wants to improve on that.
Here she goes. And she did tuck Sukahara and stuck it cold. Well, she decided not to do the layout, and she did a tuck instead.
So that will get a better score. Her teammate is Tim Daggett. He was expected to win the American Cup. Unfortunately, he had to pull out. We spoke to him earlier about his injury to his ankle.
Well, at the American Cup last week, I kind of had an injury to my right leg, and it hurt a little bit and caused me to withdraw from the competition. But I think I'll be all right here. It's only 3 events, and I'm going to take it a little easy. I'll do the 3 events that are best for me, and hopefully I won't have a problem.
And here is Tim Daggett, bronze medalist, as you mentioned, Peter, on the pommel horse. And certainly he shows events that don't really need much ankle work.
Tim has scored a 10 on this event many, many times, and he's working beautifully. He does a lot of work behind the back and on one pommel. There's a scissor with a half turn behind the back. And he's going to get ready for his dismount. He does beautiful flare work. Hopping down to the end, hopping back up to the middle, and a flare right to a handstand. That was a beautiful
nice. Nice landing, too. And he held up his end of the bargain, and so did Tracy Calore. She received a 9.7 for her second vault, certainly a big improvement over the first, and Daggett will get a good score for that routine.
Yeah, I think they're both going to be pleased with this. They're going to move right into the next round, I think. We'll have to wait and see, though. Beautiful flare work, right up to a handstand for his dismount.
Nice distance, too, from the horse.
Now we see another angle. He hops down to the end of the horse, does a flare, and here he goes right up again to a handstand. Tim does flares so easily. He could just do his whole routine in flares if he needed.
expression on his face makes a statement about that routine, too. He was happy. Now, remember, the team from China, both the gymnasts received 9-7, so their combined total is 19-4. Tracy Kalor has already received a 9-7. So if Tim Daggett can do better than 9-7, they'll move into first place. As you look at Tracy Kalor, she moves over to her teammate, Tim Daggett, and they're waiting for their numbers. And he received a 9.75, so the USA is in first place by 0.05 of a point with a 19.45 to China's 19.4. We will be back with more competition. We still have yet to see another USA team and any gymnasts from the Soviet Union. The McDonald's International Mixed Pairs, our standings partially through round one show the USA is on top, the team of Tracy Kalori and Tim Daggett, followed by China. And then there's a tie in third place between Japan and Italy with 19.1. Right now, let's go to the Soviet Union, though. They are getting ready to compete. Irina Baraksanova is getting ready to vault her first vault, while Alexei Tikhonki is standing by in the rings. Remember, Irina gets to do 2 vaults. This is her first one.
Irina's in the coveted top 6 of the Soviet team, so she's a phenomenal gymnast, and she did not quite have the meet that she wanted to have at the American Cup, so you can bet she's really going to be giving it her all right now.
She's 16 years old, 4 feet 7, 75 pounds.
Round off onto the horse, lay out Sukahara off. Boy, what a beautiful vault. Well, she scored very well.
Tracy Kalor received a 9.7 for her vault. She wants to do better than that.
This is one of those newer vaults with a round off onto the board and then a back handspring onto the horse with a layout Sukahara off. It's very, very new. It was developed by the Soviets, and she did it quite well.
It was developed by her teammate, oddly enough.
That's right.
And disallowed as being too difficult, too dangerous. But the women allow it.
And there it is, round off onto the horse, layout Sukahara off. Perfect form, beautiful landing. Going to be hard to improve on that.
It's nice to have a strong first vault under your belt.
Sure
and you
is.
can be a little riskier on the second. She received a 9.7 for that vault.
Slow motion replay, and she will be ready to go with her next vault now. Once again, Irina Baraksanova.
I first saw this vault performed by Natalia Yurchenko of the Soviet Union in the World Cup in 1982, and it's really caught on. A lot of other gymnasts want to do this vault. It's very popular, very difficult, though.
What makes it difficult? Trying to gauge where you land on
gauging
the
where you
board?
land on the board and the horse. Oh, then she does it with a full twist now. Landed perfectly, too. Boy, that was beautiful.
It happens so fast between the board and the horse.
Here she is, doing it with a full twist. She tucks her knees in, does a full twist, and lands perfectly. That should score higher.
Her partner on still rings.
9.7 was her score for the first. We'll wait for her second score. And while we're waiting, let's take a look at Alexei Tikhonki. He is 25 years old. He is in college studying physical education.
Let's welcome.
And we have the score for Baraksanova. She received a 9.8. So this team could take the lead with that 9.8, because Tikhonki is very strong on the rings.
I talked to him earlier, and he said that he enjoys parallel bars the most. It's the most fun to work out on. But the rings is always a very strong event. He pulls right to a cross and pulls out. It's extremely powerful. There's a forward roll, hollow back press to a handstand. Giant to a handstand. It's very, very steady. And whip it to another cross. Look at how he presents himself. Very beautiful, very artistic gymnast. And he's going to set up for his dismount. Giant to a handstand. And a very high pike calf and F out. Beautiful landing. That's going to score well. That could put him right in the lead. And here's a neat angle for his dismount. There's a giant to his handstand. And now he's really got to get a lot of lift. He pulls way above the rings for that pike calf and F out.
He needs a 9.65 to help his team tie for the lead. A 9.7 would give the Soviet Union the lead over Daggett and Kalor.
I'm pretty sure he's going to get it, too.
His teammate, Irina Baraksanova, received a 9.8 for her second vault.
No, I
Take some of the pressure off of him, but I don't think he would have felt it anyway.
I think Alexi's pretty confident about their chances, though. He chose his best event, the horizontal bar, for the very end. I think he wants to finish on a great note.
They are talking now with their translator. Getting some advice as to how this competition works. This is such a unique format that the judges are somewhat baffled by it because this is never done after this or before this. It's the only meet of the year that is conducted in this manner, in which you only do 3 apparatus. The men's and women's scores combine. So it's an unusual situation. The score for Alexei Tikhonki made the team total 19.5, meaning he got a 9.7. So the Soviet Union has the lead. The USA is second, and we'll be back for first set. The USA is in second, but right now the gymnasts from Hungary want to change all that. Andrea Ladanye is about to compete on the uneven parallel bars. Once again, the gymnasts are allowed to choose which apparatus they want to compete on. She chose the uneven parallel bars. Her teammate has chosen the pommel horse. We'll get to him in a moment.
Andrea is another new face in women's gymnastics. The free hip half turn to a handstand. Another turn. Swings up to the handstand on the low bar. Kips through. Free hip circle. Giant to a handstand. Giant. And a Comaneci dismount. Doing very, very well.
Andrea Ladanye.
I don't know how well that's going to score because in difficulty it's not as high as some of the other routines we've seen today, but it was very, very clean. And here she puts 1 foot on the bar. This is a Comaneci dismount, front with a half. And she takes just a little hop.
Georgi Gutsogi is on the pommel horse. Another one who's chosen the pommel horse as his first apparatus.
And he should, because he's one of the best pommel horse workers in the world. He has a lot of original skills, a lot of Durhams, which is scissor sequence, and a flare, travel down flare, loop around up to a handstand. He's always been a medal winner in lots of major competitions on pommel horse. He's very, very strong. Now here's his flare. Travel down, and he's going to set up for his dismount. There's a loop around, and he'll do a flare right up to a handstand. And his flares aren't quite as extended as the flares that you might see in the Chinese gymnasts or that you might see in Alexei Tikhonki's on pommel horse, but he still does it quite well.
Andrea Ladanye received a 9.4 on the uneven parallel bars. A perfect 10 for Gutsogi, her teammate, would give them 19.4, and that's good enough to tie for third at this point in the competition. I don't think he's going to get a perfect 10 on that routine.
I don't think he'll get a 10. I talked to him a little earlier. I think he has a little bit of a cold. He pointed to his nose and was sniffling a little bit, so he looked a little tired at the end of the routine also.
So they're just hopeful they can squeak by. They'll have to be in the 19s, though, to make it to the final. Only 6 will compete, in the second round. That's what they're shooting for, the second round. If Gutsogi should advance, he would like to compete next on the rings. Ladanye would like to compete next on the balance beam. It's nip and tuck right now whether or not these two will make it to that second apparatus. Our leaders, the Soviet Union with 19.5, second place the USA with 19.45, and then China is in third with a 19.4. So our top 3 spots are very, very close together. After that, a 19.1, there's a tie for 4th place between Japan and Italy. Right now, 19.0 is what's the cutoff for 6th place. 9.35 is the score for Gutsogi, so he receives an 18.75 total. They will not make it to the next round. Very close, but not quite good enough. They had to be 19 or better to make it to that next round. When we come back, we will have more competition. We still have another team from the USA, as well as gymnasts from Germany and Romania. Don't go away. With international mixed pairs competition, I'm Leandra Riley, along with Peter Vidmar. The German Democratic Republic is getting ready to compete. The young lady representing the German Democratic Republic is Simone Happerat. She's going to compete on the uneven parallel bars. Her teammate, Ulf Hoffman, will compete on floor exercise. Simone is 15 years old, and she attends Oberschule in Rostock.
Bars has always been a very strong event for the East Germans. I haven't seen Simone very much at all. And she goes right to a handstand. Beautiful reverse hack. She's very powerful.
So she's only 15. That might explain why you haven't seen much of her.
That's
She's young.
Stoop through. Kip to a handstand. Giant. And a layout full twist dismount.
Nice routine by Simone Harperoth. Whether or not it's good enough to get them into the finals waits to be seen.
Now here's her Giant getting up ready for her dismount. And she does a layout with a full twist. It's not quite as difficult as some of the other ones I've seen. Girls are doing double backs. They're doing layouts with double twists.
And began gymnastics in 1971.
Ulf Hoffman is 24 years old. He attends Deutsche Hochschule für Körperstudie, and he's studying sports, so I assume he wants to coach or teach.
Ulf mounted with a very difficult pass. It's a 1.5 twisting, 1 3/4 dive roll. It's very, very risky. Now a second pass. Run off back casting, whip over, back handspring, full punch front. Very, very nice. He's a very powerful gymnast. And here's his flares, a spindled flare, rotating the other way as he does it. And now the required press to a handstand. Very unusual and weak pass right there as a tuck dive roll. I guess he's resting up for his dismount. Kind of an awkward scale there. He has a little bobble. That's going to cost him.
Scale is mandatory. He must show him.
Yeah, balance trick, yes. And here's his dismount, and it's a double back flip, a little hop. Looked a little bit tired at the end of that routine. Now we'll take a look at his mount. It's a 1.5 twisting, 1 3/4 dive roll. It's a lot of flips and a lot of twists.
It must be very difficult to stay oriented in a move like this.
It is. I used to compete this trick, and it can be. I had a friend of mine that's been hurt on this trick too. It's very risky because he rolls out of it, so it's very close to his head, but he does it so well that he really doesn't have to worry about it. I thought he was a little bit tired and going into the dismount. He doesn't get quite the same lift. And he takes a little bit of a hop forward. He lands it and takes a little stumble forward. Looked a little bit tired at the end of that routine.
Better roundup, better running would have improved that dismount then, possibly?
I think so. I think it's the end of a long trip. I think they've been away from home for a while. They're a little bit tired after the American Cup, and I think he wanted to just make it through the routine, and he did it quite well.
The total for this group is 19.15, and right now that is good enough for 6th place. So Simone Harperoth and Ulf Hoffman have made it into the finals based on that total so far, but we've yet to see the gymnasts from Romania, and we still have another pair from the USA who are expected to also make it into the finals. We are moving now back to the uneven parallel bars where Mariana Tudor of Romania is about to compete. She is 16 years of age and began the sport at age 11.
And she's a little gymnast, but look at how she swims in the even bars.
Wow.
Front flip down the low bar, kips up right to a handstand. Straddle up, kip, and another Delchev trick. Here she goes. The kip, straddle up, and she's going to set up for this. This is a long routine. Toe on, front flip, just a little bit of a weak dismount, and it's difficult to land one like that also. She took a big step on it.
But she had a lot of difficulty in the middle.
A lot of difficulty in the middle. I was surprised at the dismount, though. It really was not that hard of a dismount. She does just a toe-on tucked front flip, and she didn't even land it that well.
Do you think maybe that was an alternate dismount?
It could have been. She could have had a more difficult dismount plan. She may have been tired. She may have slipped a little bit and just decided to do that one.
Valentin Pintia is competing as her teammate, also from Romania. He is coached by Vasil Casario.
Pintia is very powerful on the floor. Gets a lot of lift. A very high full twist double back flip. A little hop in the landing is going to cost him a little bit, but he gets way up there. Now, second pass is a Arabian double front. He went out of bounds. That's going to cost him some more. It's very, very high. This routine isn't quite as clean as it could be. He's got plenty of difficulty, though. He hasn't really stopped tumbling yet. Now he can do some work on the floor. I'm sure he's huffing and puffing a little bit right now. This is required presto handstand. Done a little bit too quickly. He didn't really hold the handstand. Does a scale. He's a little rested up for that dismount. And a round off back handspring, double back flip. Little hop, but it was still very, very high. Now on his second pass on an Arabian double front, he went out of bounds, and that is a deduction.
It isn't as major as people like to make out. It's only a tenth or two, depending on the element that you're performing at the time.
That's right. Here's
not like a fall.
Roll. Yeah, it is. It's a minor deduction compared to falling off the apparatus.
But still, it's an obvious deduction when you
right.
don't like to give up.
Now here's his dismount. It's a round off back handspring, double back flip, probably the most common dismount in floor exercise. Plenty of lift, and just takes a little hop.
Looks like he had it too. I think maybe if this was the Olympic Games and he was going for a gold medal, he might have forced a stick on that one.
He's very, very powerful.
And they received a 9.7 for the uneven parallel bars, a 9.3 for the floor exercise, for a perfect score of 19.00, perfectly even score, I should say. And that will not be good enough to get into the second round. So say so long to the team from Romania. When we come back, the USA has another pair, and they're good. Standings at the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs as we get ready for our final few gymnasts in round one. As you can see, the Soviet Union is on top, followed by the USA. Earlier, we spoke with Bella Caroli. He is coaching Christy Phillips. We asked him about her attitude, her talent, her specialness, but most importantly, how she deals with all of the pressure. He told us this earlier.
That basically is up the kids' mental and physical abilities, a combination from these two very important parts of their personality. Now, how she is. She's a balanced type of little girl. Everything she's processing, she's going through her mental digestion, everything, the indications. She's positive, receiving with great enthusiasm everything what is told to her, indication, instructions, directions, what we are showing. She's trying to do her best.
Bella Caroli coaching Christy Phillips.
She does a round off on, Zook fall off with one little step. She's really come into her own on the ball.
Let's together more and pressing down. No step whatsoever, okay? Now you go normal, slow down, and with more explosiveness. More punch it harder, and if the pressure goes down. No moves. Let's go.
As you can tell, we have put a microphone on Bella Caroli to give advice to Christy Phillips.
Bella is a great motivator. You watch, she's going to do a better vault in that second one. Now she does that round off on, a Sukahara with a full twist off, and she takes that step.
Now, during the second vault, we will be eavesdropping on Bella Caroli should he say something. She received a 9.7 for the first vault. Her teammate is Brian Ginsberg. He will be competing on the rings after this vault. Bella Caroli,
Hey, that was a good one. All right. Good little book. All right. Those are pretty good. Now let's now get up.
I don't understand what he said, but it sure was enthusiastic. All right, earlier we spoke with Brian Ginsberg. We asked him how he felt about the American Cup. Remember, going into the last event, he was first. But then Alexei Tikhonki was close behind and eventually overtook him for the lead. He told us this earlier today.
I knew before going into high bar that I was in the lead, and I knew I needed to hit a good set because one of the Soviets' best events is high bar. And I was a little nervous, and going towards the end of my set, I was very tired. So on my dismount, I put my hands down, and I knew that all the Soviet needed to do was hit his set, and I knew he was capable of it. And after his routine, he stuck his triple dismount for the second day in a row, and I knew that it was an incredible routine, and he deserved the score he got.
Brian Ginsberg needs now to stay alive in this competition. He needs a 9.35 to squeak into this competition. That'll tie him for fifth place, and that'll be good enough to get him into the finals. His teammate received a 9.75. Christy Phillips did for her second vault. So 9.35 is the minimum Brian Ginsberg can receive.
Brian's certainly capable of a 9.35. He goes right to an iron cross, pulls right out. He's so powerful. He's so lightweight. There's a beautiful flange. And he presses up to a handstand. He's just about fulfilled all of his strength requirements right now.
5'2", 105 pounds he is. He's light.
Very light. Giant to a handstand. Back up rise to a handstand. Nice and steady. He's really improved over the last year. Giant dislocate, and he straddled. That's the straddle side flip with a 3/4 twisting side flip out. It's an incredible dismount. It's very, very new. Only been done for a few months now.
Difficult to say, more difficult to execute.
Yeah. And here it is. Sitting here for that dismount. It's like a pike straddle double side flip with a 3/4 twist out, and he lands with a little bit of a hop and a step. But I still think that'll be good enough to get them into the next round.
Do the judges take that in consideration, the difficulty of the dismount when you take that step, or is that step just a penalty across the board?
Well, no, I really think they do. They have to take into consideration the difficulty of the dismount. In the past, sometimes they haven't, and you found that the gymnasts started watering down their dismounts. I know I did in the Olympics because I didn't get the credit that I wanted to get for doing a difficult skill. But now the judges realize they've got to give that credit for doing a difficult dismount, and I'm sure he'll get a good score.
He is paired with Christy Phillips. She received a 9.75 for her second vault, so that is the score that will be added to his ring score. Once they flash it, we'll let you know. Their total is 19.45, meaning he received a 9.7, and a 19.45 ties them for second, ironically, with fellow Americans Tim Daggett and Tracy Kalor. So it's the Soviet Union first, the USA tied for second. We have two pairs advancing to round two. McDonald's International Mixed Pairs. Our first round has been completed, and as you can see, the Soviet Union holds down the first place. The United States has tied for second. Tracy Kalor and Tim Daggett are tied with Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg. China is in fourth. Germany is in fifth. And Italy holds down the sixth position. We did not get a chance to see the Italian team compete, but we will show you that right now. This young lady is going to vault for you, Patrizia Lucconi.
And she does a round-up on a full twisting round-up on the Sukahara off. It's a very difficult vault. I've never seen it before. She's probably one of the only gymnasts in the world that does it.
Interesting leotard that she's wearing with the sequence of the glitter.
It's very shiny. We'll take another look at this. She actually does a round-off onto the board, and then before she hits the horse, she does a full twist, and then does a Sukahara off. A full twist on, and then a tuck Sukahara off. She lands perfectly. And that's what helped put them into this round.
And she received a 9.65 for that vault. We will be back with round two, but first these messages from our sponsors. Teams, as we have mentioned, have advanced, and you are looking at the first half of the team from China. This is Jiang Yingzhu. She is competing, obviously, on the uneven parallel bars. They are ranked fourth overall. This order of competition now is drawn from a hat. So even though they are in fourth, they are going first in the second round.
And this is traditionally a very strong event for the Chinese. Oh, and she missed that front flip.
And in a competition like this,
that will knock them right out.
That's a fatal flaw.
Way. And she's a little bit stuck. I think she's really lost her composure here. She's had to really cover up in this routine. Chances are now she's just going to set up for a dismount. There's a giant and a double backflip. That's going to cost them. And I doubt they're going to make it back.
That has to be very difficult when you end up facing the wrong direction and you have to create while you're up there.
It seemed to me like she held on a little bit too long on that skill. She crosses over. She holds on a little bit too long onto the bars, and she's already right into them. And there's just no way that she can stay on. She caught the bar with her wrist, and so that bounced her hands right off, and she never even had a chance to grab the bar.
Moving over to the rings, her demoralized teammate now, Wang Shengxiang, is going to do the best he can, but he knows that it's over for them.
Nonetheless, I'm sure he still wants to do a great routine. And he's very, very strong. It's a backup rise to an inverted cross. And a whip it to an iron cross. Kip to an L. Now he'll press up to a handstand, do a series of swinging movements to a handstand. Your giant has a little bit of a swing. Back up rise to a handstand, and he gets ready for his dismount. Giant dislocate, double layout.
Wong Chung-chung dismounting from the rings. His teammate, Young Young-Zoo, received an 8.85 on her uneven parallel bar routine.
Now we see his dismount. There's a giant dislocate. There's a beautiful double layout with just a minor hop at the very end. Gets a lot of lift, very stretched body. But they're going to be out of the competition.
And her face tells the entire story.
She's not pleased with that routine. I'm sure she's going to go back home and do a lot more of them and do them right.
Managing a smile, though. Somebody's trying to cheer her up. Her teammate is.
They have got to be some of the friendliest athletes in the world.
So the team from China, disappointing in the second round, had a great first round, had a great future in front of them, but one slip on the uneven parallel bars ended that. They had a 19.4. All the scores are carried over from the first round. It's a cumulative total. Now, if everybody in the competition from here on out falls off the apparatus, this team is very much alive.
That's right.
I somehow feel that's not going to happen. Only 3 from this round will compete in the final round. There's their total, 37.84. Of course, that puts them in first place by virtue of the fact that they've gone first, but that won't last for long. Our next competitor is the young lady from Italy that we just saw moments ago vaulting. Patrizia Lucconi is going to compete. She chose for her second apparatus the uneven parallel bars.
8.85. 18.45 the combined score. We continue on now with pair number 12 from Italy. On uneven bars.
You mentioned the fact about her attire and that it is mostly synthetic fabric, and you think that might be a detriment in performing.
Well, apparently the shinier the leotard, that means the more synthetic the fabric, and so it doesn't breathe quite as well as if it would have a cotton fiber in it. And they can really sweat in those leotards. They're very attractive, but they're not necessarily the most comfortable ones to wear. And here she gets ready for her uneven bar routine. Half turn, kip up to a handstand. A reverse heck. Kip. She's very powerful. That was a little bit weak as she went over there. That's a little bit of a cover-up. Now she's going to have to make up something. This is going to cost them.
The extra swing is 5/10 right there.
Yeah, and she's making some more extra swings. I think she's kind of lost her composure.
And it's funny because half the folks at home see nothing wrong with this routine.
Right. That's right. Well, she doesn't break her form, but she just missed a couple tricks. There's a double back flip. Landed well. And her teammate's going to have to perform very, very well to keep them in this competition. Now, I think the mistake really came kind of towards the beginning. She did a very nice Tkachev, which is the reverse heck, and we see that coming up right here. She swings down and does a reverse heck back over the bar, but then here she does a kip, and as she goes up to a handstand, she doesn't quite make it to the handstand. She goes over the handstand, then she has to do the turn, and she doesn't have enough swing to finish the next skill.
So you think she wanted to end up facing the other way, and that caused the trouble. Her teammate, Paolo Bucci, has elected to compete on the high bar.
I am very impressed with the young Italian men gymnasts. They have a great junior program, and he's a product of it. They're very, very good on the horizontal bar. There's a Ganger. It's a flyaway with a half turn.
Her coach, his coach stepped in there. Is that?
Well, if you touched him, technically it should be a dismount. It's nice to have that security. There's a beautiful full turn into an inverted giant. This routine is somewhat of a stock routine. I haven't seen a lot of difficulty in it. He sets up this a double twist, double back dismount though. Very, very hard to do. It's done quite well. I say the routine was somewhat stock, but the dismount was very difficult, and that's probably where he gets those extra superiority credits. Now here's this full pirouette into an inverted giant, right up and over the top. This is a great angle to see it. Look how he places his hand. Almost looks like he didn't make it. Very, very nice. That's a scary trick to do. Now here's his dismount. He does a double twisting, double back flip, and he lands perfectly. Really, really done nicely. You notice how he got that twist right off the bar because he has to twist so much before he hits the ground.
Paolo Bucci. His teammate received a 9.2 for her uneven parallel bar routine. If he receives a 9.55 or better, he will overtake first place, but that's kind of a moot point since China also had a bad performance on their uneven parallel bar set. Paolo trying to cajole his teammate as we move now to the floor exercise. This is the German Democratic Republic, and this is Simone Happarat.
Simone mounts with a round off back handspring, double back flip. It's not one of the most difficult mounts, but they really use some powerful music now in these floor exercise routines. And they round off punch straddle, punch front. Star Wars music there. And now she goes into her next tumbling pass. So round off, back handspring, full twist, back handspring, double fall. That's a lot of flips and just that short space to tumble on. People don't realize how important some of these turns are that the girls do. When they do a lot of these pirouettes, it's so important that they stay off their heel, they stay on their toe, and that's an important part the judges are really looking for. And although some of these skills don't look so hard, a lot of people are just looking for the tumbling passes. Those are just as difficult to perform. She dismounts with another double back, and she's set down. A little bit of a cover-up, but
she didn't fool you.
Yeah, she didn't fool me. I don't think she'll fool the judges either.
Simone Hopperat, now taking a seat after a tumbling pass, is that like a fall?
Oh, it is like a fall. I don't know if it's a full 5/10 of a deduction dismount. I think she planned to use that skill and fall down to her seat a little bit more gracefully, but here I think you can see that it was a mistake.
Too much power? Or?
Well, no. She tucked her knees in. She was a little bit tired, and she wanted to get those feet under for the landing, and she just fell right back down. Cute cover-up there.
Simone Hopperat. She and her teammate are fifth as we look at Ulf Hoffman, who's already begun his parallel bar routine.
Looks a very powerful gymnast. It's a mana. He swings up to a beautiful routine. He's doing a lot of very difficult skills. Healy twirls to a front flip, another Healy twirl. Stutz to a handstand. And a double back dismount. A little hop and a step. That's going to cost him a bit. These routines don't seem to be as crisp as the first round, so we're really gonna separate the best teams right here.
It sounds like your advice has been followed, in that everybody put their strongest event first, and now we're seeing the fall in the caliber.
Yeah, they look a little bit tired. And here's his Stutz setting up for his double back dismount. It was a good dismount, and it was almost secure in the landing, but he just had to take that little hop forward, and that's just the deduction that he really doesn't need right now.
Simone Hopperat received a 9-6 for her floor exercise routine, and that has been the best female performer in the second round by 4/10. So that takes some of the pressure off of Ulf Hoffman. So far, the best male score in the second round has been 9-6 by China's Wang Chongsheng. So the German Democratic Republic is certainly in a strong position to move up to fourth place. Currently, they are in fifth place, I'm sorry. He received a 9-6 for his routine.
Very good. Now we have to realize that only one American team is allowed to advance to that final round. And so they look pretty secure in moving on.
All right, after 3 performers, first place right now belongs to the German Democratic Republic. But remember, the top 3 performers have not yet competed yet. So the German Democratic Republic is first in this second round. In second place is China, and in third place is Italy. Their total 38.35 for the German Democratic Republic. China with a 37.8. And we will be back with our top team is about to compete. The USA and the USSR are about to go head-to-head with only the top 3 advancing to the final round. The Soviet Union will go first. Irina Baraksanova is going to compete on the uneven parallel bars. Her teammate, Alexei Tikhontik, is going to compete on the parallel bars. Irina is up first. The USA, as you had mentioned, Peter, is going to compete in the second round with 2 teams, the Christy Phillips-Brian Ginsberg tandem, along with the Tracy Calori-Tim Daggett tandem. But only one, as you mentioned, can go to the third and final round. So that means the German Democratic Republic, by virtue of that rule, will advance to the final round.
Yes, they did want to make this rule where they want to give some Americans a chance to compete in this meet. It's their home country and their home court. Yet they do want to make it fair and try to keep the international flavor of the event and make sure that only one American team can advance to that final round.
This is Alexei Tikhontik. He is chalking up the rails, preparing them for his routine, while he waits for his compatriot, Irena Baraksanova, to begin her mount on the uneven parallel bars.
Boy, Alexei is great on the parallel bars.
Irena better be good on the uneven.
That's right. Beautiful free hip hop to a handstand. And a straddle front flip. Drop down to the low bar. Stalled her half turn. Up to the high bar. She had a little problem, I thought, at the very beginning of that routine. Giant. And a double pike dismount. Very, very difficult. She took a little step, but that's a very difficult dismount to land.
And the uneven parallel bars has been the Waterloo for most of the women in this second round, but not so for Irena Baraksanova.
I wonder if with these American parallel bars, they're a little bit different, and I wonder if they're having some problems with their grip. She's getting set up for this giant into a double pike dismount, and she does it quite well. Legs straight, and she takes that little step.
And now we are over at the parallel bars where Alexei Kikonki is getting ready to compete. These are our leaders after the first round by 0.05 of a point. Alexei and Irena.
And boy, can he swing on the parallel bars. He does a very long routine, too. The cast, front toss, hop pirouette to handstand, stitz to a handstand, giant swing to a handstand, and the Yamidov. Every trick in the book. Another stitz, pirouette, and now watch this. 2 back tosses in a row, setting up for that dismount. And he does a beautiful double pike. Little hop. What a routine.
Crowd appreciates that one. Irena Baraksanova received a 9.7 for her uneven parallel bar routine as we take another look at Alexei's parallel bar routine.
Okay, now he does a pirouette. He's going to do 2 back tosses in a row. They're basically back layouts right to a handstand. He does another one right to a handstand. Then he does a double pike, and he does a very high one. It's difficult to get lift off the bars. Takes a little hop.
They better check his hand for liquid nails. That guy's up there.
And he is incredible. Very powerful gymnast. I've seen him for many years.
As he moves over to the official position to receive the double score for himself and Irena Baraksanova. Remember, she received a 9.7. That is the best female score so far in the second round, with Simone Hopperat receiving a 9.6 for her floor exercise routine.
It looks like it's going to be tight down to those last routines.
He received a 9.7, meaning the total for the Soviet Union tandem is 38.90. Handily, they are in first place, but we have 2 teams from the USA yet to compete. And when we come back from this commercial message, we will see the USA, but please don't go away. You are looking at Christy Phillips. We asked her earlier her thoughts about her recent victories in gymnastics, and what comes to mind is the victory at the American Cup that happened not too long ago in this young lady's past.
Well, me winning the American Cup is putting a lot more pressure on how I do tonight. So I just hope I can keep on and do as good as I did then, maybe even better if I can.
I want to go back to the American Cup for one more thought. How was this week in your life different since you won the American Cup than, let's say, if you hadn't won the American Cup?
My life is different because every time the phone rang, it was a reporter, wanted to ask me questions, and never had so much publicity before in my life.
This is Bela Karolyi. He coached Nadia Comaneci to an Olympic gold medal. He coached Mary Lou Retton to an Olympic gold medal. And by all indications, he's on his way to coaching this young lady, hopefully to an Olympic gold medal. You can hear him in the background. We'll eavesdrop as he comments. Christy Phillips on Floor Exercise.
All eyes are on Christy for this routine.
Go. Easy, easy, easy.
Out of bounds.
That's a deduction. That's going to hurt a little bit.
All right.
It's going to put a lot of pressure on Brian.
Dance that.
If you hear grunting and yelling in the background, that is Coach Bela Karolyi.
Right. Dance that 50. Hold it. Oh, shit. Go!
Bella's yelling almost as he can make her do those skills just by grunting and groaning.
I think he does.
Boy, she a bundle of energy.
And I think if we were to score his face, he'd get some numbers.
Oh, that's smooth. And
The crowd loves it. Bella Caroli is pleased.
That little tumbling pass that Christy did is a new pass for her, and I think Bella really wants her to get some experience using it in some major competition. She normally used to do just a round-off back handspring double back, but instead she's been doing a round-off back handspring whip-over back handspring double back, so it's been very, very difficult.
She has cute dance elements, too. Christy Phillips, 13 years of age. Now you're watching Bella Caroli on tape replays. He's watching his gymnast tumble. And he's tumbling right along with her.
Some people don't realize how hard on the coach it is. It's really difficult for the coach to go through those routines when he has no control over the competition.
All right, her teammate is Brian Ginsberg, and Brian has elected to vault for his second round. In men's competition, you are allowed to execute just one vault.
Now, we saw Brian's ring dismount with basically a double straddle side flip with a three-quarter twist out. He's going to do a similar vault. It's going to be a straddle side Sukahara with a three-quarter twist out.
Christy Phillips received a 9-7 for her floor exercise routine. That's identical to Baraksanova's uneven parallel bar score. So the pressure's on Brian to get a 9-7 or better.
He can do it on this vault. It's a new vault for him. Very, very good. What a beautiful vault.
9-8 would give him the lead. 9-7-5 would give them a tie with the USSR.
It's so exciting to see new things done like this. The Chinese started doing this at the World Championships about 4 months ago. Now we'll take a look at it again. There it is. It's a straddle side Sukahara with a three-quarter twist out. And he really does it well. He gets so high and he's so light. He just looks like a feather up there. He lands so easily. Had a minor hop at the end, though.
Isn't it an advantage on vaulting to be shorter? You know, he's 5'2". Some of the gymnasts are 5'7", 5'8".
It can be. It can be an advantage, but really it's the power that's involved, and Brian has that quick, explosive power.
That was a pretty good walk.
Bella liked it. He received a 9.6 for that vault. We'll update you on the scores, and when we come back, Tracy Kalor and Tim Daggett. Round are about to begin. Tracy Kalor on the uneven parallel bars, Tim Daggett on the high bar. Tracy Kalor and Tim Daggett are currently in second place, tied with Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg. But only one USA team can advance. They need to do better than 38.75 if they want to go into the finals.
So in this case, it's really USA versus USA.
Right.
Tracy's very powerful here. She does 2 stallers in a row. Stooping through. Kip to a handstand. Another stalder. Giant. And a double pike dismount, the same as Baraksanoova. She stuck that dismount, though. There's no deduction for that landing. That was beautiful. Very difficult routine.
Baraksanoova received a 9-7 for her routine on the unevens.
Here's a giant and a double pike. And look at that landing. Nice and solid. Beautiful dismount.
Ironically, Christy Phillips received a 9-7 for her Florex routine. So the women in this second round are doing very well in the USA and the USSR. Tim Daggett, obviously, on the parallel bars is chalking them up. Let's talk a little bit about the hand grips that you would wear on the parallel bars. None at all, as opposed to the high bar where you have the dowel.
That's right. Some gymnasts still like to use some leather hand guards on the parallel bars. But in Tim's case, and in the case of most gymnasts, they like to go just with their bare hands. We do a little bit of we have a formula we put water and a little bit of sugar in the water to make it nice and sticky on the bars, actually. Because sometimes you can really slip on the parallel bars.
Sugar or sweet low?
No, only sugar. We made a mistake using a diet soda once. It didn't work. There's a nice giant straddle cut. Back upright straddle cut to an L for Tim. And he presses to a handstand. This is a very good event for Tim. He's always been very steady on this. It's a back toss to a handstand. Another back toss, the same as Tikonki. Front uprise hop pirouette. Stutz to a handstand. Now he's getting ready for his dismount. Double back. A little bit of a hop. Boy, this is going to be close.
Not terribly close. Tracy Calor received a 9.55 for her uneven parallel bar routine. Tim Daggett's going to need just about a 10 to stay alive.
He will need a good score. It's a very good routine. Here's Tim's double back dismount. He opens up just a little bit too late, so he had to take that hop back. So that's a deduction. Usually Tim sticks to those double backs. He works hard on those landings.
He'll need a 9.75 to tie Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg for second place. He'll need a 9.8 to overtake them.
Now Tim is limping over there. He did hurt his ankle, as we know, in the American Cup, and it's been bothering him. And landing that dismount really is not a lot of fun when your ankle's throbbing. So that's probably why Tim was a little bit cautious and took that hop at the end of his routine.
And he received a 9.7, and that means that Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg, according to my math, will be the USA pair to advance. Tracy Calor and Tim Daggett, not quite good enough to get into the third and final round due to the USA only being allowed to have one team in the finals. Certainly their numbers are all right with the 1925, but they will not go into the third round by virtue of one country allowed only. There you see the people who will go into round 3. The USSR, the USA, and East Germany will be back with the third round. The McDonald's International Mixed Pairs. I'm Leandra Riley along with Peter Vidmar, and after round 2, these are the standings. The Soviet Union is in first place, 38.90. The USA is in second place, 38.75. And the German Democratic Republic is in third with a 38.35. So it's 0.15 difference between first and second, 0.4 difference between second and third. Very close. Anything could happen in this third round. And in this third round, our order of go, ironically by the draw from a hat, will show third place going first, second place going second, first place going last. The German Democratic Republic team of Simone Harperath and Ulf Hoffmann, they have elected to do balance beam for Simone, high bar for Ulf Hoffmann. And I think that's interesting that the women have chosen to do balance beam. Christy Phillips, you're looking at her here, she also has elected to do balance beam in the third round. And that's the nerve-wracking event, I think, for women.
It's kind of like the men choosing to do pommel horse in an event when they don't have to choose it. However, we're talking about gymnasts that are so prepared, they're so well-trained, that it doesn't really matter what event they do. They're going to do fine, whether it's the balance beam or the vault or the uneven bars or the floor exercise. And I think Christy figured that was a very good event for it. And if you watch, that was one of her really strong events at the American Cup. And she does some very innovative skills on it. And I think she wants to show them off to the crowd and end with a bang.
Yeah, she does have a back-breaking flexibility move that just makes you squirm at home.
It is incredible.
We'll show it to you. I don't know if she's going to warm up with it. Irina Baraksanova from the Soviet Union, her final event is going to be on floor exercise, and that's always dramatic. And there you see some of Christy Phillips' back flexibility, but that still isn't the move we call the Phillips.
Yes, now remind you, this is just her warm-up still. They're still getting ready for the competition. The event for the Soviet, Baraksanova, is very good for her. She's very powerful on floor exercise. And the Soviets are phenomenal at dance. They're just beautiful dancers. Every one of them. They're so well-trained in ballet.
We were looking at Bela Karolyi as he coaches Christy Phillips. Bela Karolyi defected to the United States from Romania after his success with Nadia Comaneci. As you look at Irina Baraksanova, her teammate, Alexei Tikhonki, is going to compete on the high bar. In fact, all of the men have elected to end with the high bar.
High bar is probably the most exciting event in men's gymnastics, and it is a little bit risky, but I think that they know that if they really nail their routines, that they can win the competition. And you really can't play it safe in a competition like this. You have to go all out, because those routines that win are going to be the 9.7s, the 9.8s, and the 9.9s. And so they can't afford to make mistakes.
Irina Baraksanova.
This concludes the warm-up period officially.
Competing for the Soviet Union, Simone Harperath competing for the German Democratic Republic, Christy Phillips competing for the USA. Those are the women.
Final round, 3 pairs. German Democratic Republic,
And the gymnasts have been told to clear the floor area. We are ready now for the balance beam competition, and Simone Harperath.
A performance on balance beam by the German Democratic Republic's Simona Harperath.
She's 15 years old. She is coached by Volker Karsch.
It's amazing. You look at a country like East Germany with only 17 million people in that country, and they do so well in every aspect of international athletics, and gymnastics is no exception. She had a fall there on her mount. That's really going to cost them. There's no way they can win the title now unless the other gymnasts really make big mistakes, and we just don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know. On the balance beam, we may see more falls.
That's true.
I think this shot probably personifies the narrowness of that beam better than you and I could ever describe it.
Every time we see a routine, we always have to reiterate that that beam is only 4 inches wide. And some of those skills that they do, I don't even want to do on the ground.
That's the width of the palm of your hand.
It is. And it's just incredible that they can do some of these skills, or that they can even try them. Can you imagine going for it the first time, wondering if you can make it? Boy.
And they're 4 feet off the ground.
That's right.
And that beam is very hard. It is not padded, although it is covered with a leather material to aid in sticking. It's not at all padded. When you hit the beam on the way down, you know it.
It's hard. Now, Simona's having a few little bobbles here, and I think that that mistake really kind of threw her off. She knows that it's going to be very difficult to win this competition now, but she does want to finish strong. Just 2 leaps in a row, 3 leaps.
And these are required elements. They're not leaping just to take a break. They must show leaps with amplitude.
And they're not that easy to do either. Some of them are very, very difficult. I think everybody looks for the flips, thinking they're the most difficult skills, but not necessarily. She just mounts with a double back flip. Very good landing, but that fall is going to cost her at least 5/10 of a point.
Simone Hopperoth of the German Democratic Republic.
Now, she has to place her hands on that 4-inch balance beam blindly like that. She looked like she was on fine, and then all of a sudden, she just lost her balance and came off.
She wasn't tight on the stand-up. It looks like she had it. You're right.
And she was a little bit loose. Now, here's her dismount. This is a great angle. Look at that dismount. She's realizing that she's got to punch that 4-inch wide beam and do a double back flip.
And not hit her head. Ooh, that's close.
Amazing.
And she is dismounted from the balance beam, and we will move over to the horizontal bar where Ulf Hoffman is getting ready to do his set. He's 24 years old. He is studying sport in college in Germany. He wants to coach or teach. Dieter Hoffman is his coach.
Ulf has been around for a while in men's gymnastics, and he's a very powerful performer. Really exciting to watch. High bar is one of his best events, and he does a lot of really neat skills. Free hip circle. Right away into a delta. Really high above the bar. Look at that. There's a one-arm giant sequence. And a really high front flip. He's getting a lot of amplitude. There's a stoop to his inverted giants. Now, he didn't do a complete giant. That technically should be a deduction. Oh, a triple back over the bar. He put his elbows down, so it's going to be a deduction. But boy, is that a crazy dismount. That is so difficult.
What kind of velocity are we talking about when you're whipping around the bars?
Oh, it's really hard to say. But sometimes gymnasts can peel off, actually, while they're winding up for a dismount. But here's a triple back flip over the other side of the bar.
Wow.
He doesn't quite get around enough, and his elbows did touch the mat. You really couldn't see it there, but it's going to be a deduction.
So
here's another angle. 1, 2, 3 flips, and he just gets those knees and those elbows down the ground, so it's going to be a bit of a deduction.
The fear factor in that, he could have hit his head on the high bar. He could have peeled away, as you said. And when you peel away off the horizontal bar, you can fly across the room.
Oh, you sure can, but you can tell he's done a lot of practice, and he's really prepared to do that skill. But he just may have been a little bit too tired at the end of that routine.
All right, Simone Hopperoth received a 9.05. Ulf Hoffman received a 9.5. Their total is 18.55 for that apparatus. As we move now to the USA's Christy Phillips.
Looks like it's going to be a battle between the USA and the USSR here for this last event.
Bella Caroli actually coached you indirectly when you competed with Mary Lou in this very event, the mixed pairs.
That's right.
You were paired with her, and he was giving you some advice, wasn't he?
In the 84 mixed pairs competition right before the Olympics, my coach had to go back home. And so I didn't have a coach, and Bella started coaching me. And boy, you could tell he's very competitive because he started trying to tell me the right things and making sure that I didn't make a mistake.
Good.
Now we can hear Bella coaching her. Look at the flexibility, though, on Christy's back. We're going to see some more of that later on in the routine.
Maybe we should warn our viewers, if you have a weak stomach, this move that she does is
Or if you have a weak back. Oh, she's off the beam. Oh. That's going to cost them. You never know, though. The Soviets could make a mistake also. She gets right back up there, and look, she's really kept her composure. And that's so important. It shows she's a very, very tough competitor. Except for another tumbling pass. Layout back roll. Sometimes it's so difficult when you make a mistake in a routine, you get so demoralized and you think, now I can't get a 10 or I can't get that high score. And yet you've got to stay tough. And look at this. Look at the flexibility.
Watch her flex out of it. Oh, my back.
Oh,
That's better than a 90-degree angle.
oh, it's unbelievable.
Finish. All right.
I admire the way she's finishing. She's not hesitating. She really looked like she's got her composure.
Clear.
Set up for that dismount.
Clear.
Oh,
Yes.
there's a side flip. I thought she was going to go for the dismount.
That's very difficult on the balance beam
it
to do
is.
side tumbling.
It is very difficult. It's so
Five.
blind, you cannot
Five.
see where the beam is. Here's a layout double twist.
Strong finish. Unfortunately, she had the fall, but Simone Hopperat fell off the
You
balance
just were
beam.
too hyper at the beginning. Too hyper. Just normal, easy. All right.
Now we'll see where she made that little mistake. There's a round off, back layout step out, and she's a little bit off to the right there. Thought she was going to have it. Oh, she just fell off, though. Boy, was she fighting.
This competition, of course, marks the end of 2 weeks.
All right, these are for the folks that have the weak stomach. Seeing that Christy Phillips move, the move they've named after her, is so hard on your back.
It hurts
Oh.
me because I've got a weak back, so
Ooh.
I don't see how she can do it.
Remember, Hopperat received a 9.05. Ruth Hoffman received a 9.5. Their combined total is 56.9. So although Christy fell, she did have a strong finish and quite possibly could score better than the 9.05 that Hopperat received. Brian Ginsberg is her teammate. He is getting ready to compete on the horizontal bar.
Christy's obviously disappointed with that routine. She knew she could have hit that routine. She made a little mistake. She's going to have to go back and work on those routines again. But she's really established herself in USA Gymnastics now, and I don't think that's going to really let her get herself down. Brian gets ready now on the horizontal bar. It's a very good event for him. He does some interesting skills.
He's being helped up there by his coach, Yefim Furman. He's from the Soviet Union, defected to this country years ago.
Yefim is one of the top coaches now in this country. And here's a one-arm giant sequence done quite well. That's a new skill for Brian. I was talking to his coach earlier about it. Here's a one-arm Genger. Brian's having a very good routine right now. Now he's going to set up for a really difficult skill. It's a full twisting laid out front flip. Beautiful. Now he missed that kip a little bit. That's going to cost him about a 10th. Set up for this dismount. Now it's similar to his ring dismount and that vault. It's a double side with a three-quarter twist out. Beautiful landing. That's going to score well.
If he gets an 8.9, they overtake first place, but the Soviet Union has not gone yet. He will do better than 8.9.
Well, he'll certainly do better than an 8.9, but we just have to wait and see. It's going to be a waiting game now to watch the Soviets and see how well they do.
Christy Phillips received a 9.35 for her balance beam routine.
The crowd is stomping their feet for Brian's routine. We'll take a look at this dismount now. It's that double straddle pike side flip with a three-quarter twist out. Beautiful landing.
And we are waiting now for their totals. Christy Phillips, Brian Ginsberg. All they can do now is wait because the Soviet Union team of Irina Baraksanova and Alexei Tikhonki have yet to compete on the Florex and the high bar. Their total is 18.95. And we will be back with the Soviet Union. The battle for first place is still very much in jeopardy. Still Coliseum, Leander Riley, along with Peter Vidmar, the USSR is about to compete. Irina Baraksanova is going to compete on the floor exercise event. Her teammate, Tikhonki, will compete on the horizontal bar. The USA's total right now is 57.70. The German Democratic's total is 56.90, with this team yet to go and first place very much up in the air.
We're going to have to just wait and see now. It's kind of a waiting game, and if the Soviets just hit their routines, and they're going to be on top. Baraksanova has got a very strong routine on the floor exercise, which is a beautiful dancer.
On-floor exercise, 16.
As a team, they need 18.8 to tie, or an 18.85 to take over first place. That means each gymnast must receive about a 9.4. 18.9 to win, or 18.85 will do it.
Full twisting double back flip. Stuck it whole. Hasn't been a mistake yet in this routine. Look at the dance. Look at the extension.
And the expression.
Oh, they accentuate every single movement. Getting ready for her next tumbling pass. It's a round off back handspring. Lay out 1.5 twist step out. Round off back handspring. Lay out double twist.
Ivana Marksanova, 16 years old, 4 feet 7, 75 pounds.
These gymnasts are so small. But the real, I think a real compliment of the gymnasts is to say that they look so much bigger out there. And that's really the goal of gymnastics, to make yourself look bigger than life. And she's so elegant and so graceful.
That was a problem there.
That was a little bit of a problem there, trying to go up to a handstand. Probably a minor deduction, though. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. Here's this final pass.
And a big sigh.
Round off back handspring, double back flip.
Oh, and a fall.
She really ran out of
does that
gas
open
there.
the door?
That does.
Does that open the door?
Oh, I think that really kind of rattled her a little bit. I don't think she expected to do that. She looked a little lazy on that back handspring going into that double back flip. It really surprised me.
She didn't seem to have the power going into the run as we take another look.
The back handspring looked a little bit off. She does her round off, and I think she's just running out of gas. You mentioned about that little sigh that she gave. I think she's trying to catch her breath. It's a little bit off in the double back flip. Her hands are real wide, and she just doesn't make it around.
Barely. From a safety standpoint, she barely made it around.
That's true.
So that has opened the door for the United States to possibly win this event. The pressure is definitely on Alexei Tikhonki, who is competing on the high bar.
And Alexei knows how to handle the pressure. He's been in these kind of situations before. He needed to get a good score to win the American Cup, and he certainly got it, and this is a great event for him. He admits this is his best event. He wants to finish on a good note.
He received a 9.9, I believe, on this apparatus at the American Cup, so it's certainly within their reach.
Back up rise.
And it's only because of the new rule on 10s.
Rehab. All he needs is a 9.25. Beautiful full pirouette.
The score for Arena was 9.25. He needs much more than 9.25.
That's right. Reverse hacked. Reverse hacked. Immediate ganger. Beautiful sequence. That's so difficult.
To tie, he needs a 9.55 to win 9.6.
He'll certainly get it if he lands his dismount. A stuck triple back flip. Beautiful dismount. You can see in his expression. They know they've got it. I don't think he's missed a triple back flip since he's been in the States. He does that so well.
I think he almost thrived on the necessity of the pressure. He needs it. He needed he needed the fact that he had to do well.
They do that so well. They just know how to handle that pressure. Routines are just second nature for him. He just walks up there and does the routine. I asked him earlier, what does he think about before he does his routine? What's he concentrating on? And he just kind of shrugged his shoulder and said, my routine. I don't really know what I think about. He just does it.
Probably about where he's going to hang his next trophy.
That's
trophy
right.
case at home.
What a routine. That was just beautiful.
And perhaps
it's amazing. He hardly even warmed up for it either. He never even takes much of a warm-up. The routine is just, it's so easy for him to do, and yet from a difficulty standpoint, it's just loaded with that difficulty.
And I think by .25, the Soviet Union has won this meet. Unofficially, we have them as receiving a 19.05 for that routine, and my totals show 57.95 for the USSR, 57.70 for the USA, 56.90 for the German Democratic Republic. So the Soviet Unions unofficially are in first place, the USA second, and the German Democratic Republic is third. We will have the official numbers and confirm these statistics after this message from our sponsors. Have been confirmed in the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs. The Soviet Union has finished first with a score of 57.95. The USA finished second with a 57.70. with the German Democratic Republic finishing third with a 56.90. Peter Vidmar is standing by with our winners and their interpreter.
That's right, Leander, I'm here with my champions. Irina, my first question is, what happened at the end of your routine? You did a beautiful routine, but you seem to have a little problem on your dismount.
Что же случилось? Все-таки ты прекрасно выступила, но тем не менее у тебя были какие-то проблемы.
На вольных нет,
What do you mean? On which? On floor exercise?
On floor exercise at the very, very end.
Да, в самом конце.
Я, наверное, очень сильно, я перестаралась. Я хотела сделать
She
очень.
tried to be her best and she maybe will do it.
That's okay. She'll do fine. I think she was just maybe a little bit tired at the end of that routine. Alexei, after you saw the little mistake and the lower score for Irina, did you feel pressure to do a much better job on horizontal bar?
Когда ты увидел, что Ирина, низкие оценки у Ирины, увидел ее ошибки, на тебя это каким-то образом повлияло? Хотел ли ты выполнить это упражнение гораздо лучше?
Я, в принципе, был готов к тому, что может упасть, допустим, Ирина. Поэтому я в любом случае сделал хорошо. Если бы не упала, чтобы доставить удовольствие публике, а если упала, то постараться наверстать упущенное.
You know, he concentrates before the competition and he thinks about everything and he tries to do the best and he thinks that he should do the best because he would like the audience, which is gorgeous in your city, to be pleased with him.
Oh, we certainly were pleased. You did a phenomenal job. Congratulations to both of you. Back to you, Leandra.
Congratulations to the Soviet Union team of Irina Baraksanova and Alexei Tikhonki. They finished in first place. Our numbers are confirmed. The Soviet Union with the 57.95 to win it. Irina Baraksanova, 16 years of age. Alexei Tikhonki, 25 years of age. And that means they are going to be around, most likely, in 1988. Today's telecast has been brought to you by McDonald's. It's a good time for the great